Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Thank you, Brad. Brad comes in here. You're muted, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I was saying, I was kind of thinking about not streaming today because it is a holiday, but there's been a ton going on. We got a ton to talk about, and there's going to be a ton going on later today. It's going to be a wild day. So at the very least, we should come in, talk a little bit, because we definitely have a lot to discuss. Yeah. Donald Trump, he's going to be inaugurated today, and once he's in office, he is expected to sign some 200 different executive orders. So that is going to be a lot to sort through and determine what the impact on the markets are going to be. And the futures are going here, but it will be like an early close. Okay. So let's just come and take a quick gander at where we left off last week and if there has been any significant moves over the weekend. I guess since it's up there, I will start with Bitcoin. There was a bit of a run, major pullback, and then further run in Bitcoin, touching as high as 11,000 over the weekend. The cryptocurrency world is going wild. I keep seeing these reports that like Donald Trump will, he'll have executive orders that are relatively significant relating to cryptocurrency. And so, some even about like that they will buy Bitcoin, that the government will buy Bitcoin is the big one. But there was also a Trump and then also a Melania Trump Solana meme coin over the weekend that like got pumped and dumped. So this whole thing is just absolutely wild. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's go back to ZN. So we had a decent push up, last week rather. Decent push up in the treasuries last week as some of the kind of more hawkish scenarios did not line up with the data. We have pulled back considerable amount this morning though. S&P 500 is looking okay, but we are still kind of within a pretty choppy range there. Oil, pulling back from some of its strongest gains, but the analysts are still kind of saying that we could see $85 a barrel. So we'll see, and there might be some impacts here on oil. This might be one of the spots where people are sleeping on. I think the chances that Donald Trump put something out there that is kind of like should push oil down. Okay, hold on, getting something here. Okay, the last thing that I see is Trump to order resumption of a border wall construction via Fox. Trump to lay out trade vision, but will not impose tariffs yet. That is the news. That is the news that we are moving. Interesting. I don't know if this is really going to move the market or not. Because it is kind of, well, I don't know. Is it in line with expectations? I kind of feel like it's in line with expectations, but I do think that a lot of people were kind of hedging for Donald Trump might impose tariffs today. So if Donald Trump is not imposing tariffs today, I think that that is a boost to the markets overall. Let's see here. Were we done here? No, we were not. Gold and silver in range. Copper still reeling from that big downside that we saw, and the Japanese yen pulling back off of its best levels, but a little bit higher, and that's the most buy side action we've seen in quite some time. By the way, the headline that Trump to lay out trade vision but will not impose tariffs yet is being reported by the Wall Street Journal. So that to me means that it is probably for real. Yeah, I'm gonna let this ride. I'm seeing people on Twitter talking about Joe Biden says no one is above the law. Okay, except for all of the people that you gave preemptive pardons to. What just happened to NQ? So the headline, again, the headline is Trump to sign, or rather, Trump to lay out trade vision but will not impose new tariffs yet, says the Wall Street Journal. That is the headline. This is a very much a dovish headline. We are seeing the dollar fall here. And I do think that this could be the dollar, to me, I think is kind of like the linchpin here. Donald Trump's vision. Oh, well, what is Donald Trump trying to do, really? Like, let's put aside his vision for a second. What is his goal here? Well, the goal is to help the struggling manufacturing sector and other sectors of the economy that have kind of languished under globalism, right? So if you're really going to increase the amount of exports that the United States exports, you're going to need a weaker dollar. The strong dollar is a really, really big problem. But what has happened since Donald Trump won office, the dollar has got incredibly strong. For some reason, the trade, the money flow has all turned into long the dollar. I still kind of believe that probably the best opportunity in the market is short the dollar. Really, anything over 105 is probably okay for a long-term trade. And so if Donald Trump were to like impose tariffs and things like that, I think that that would probably increase the value of the dollar. And that's like a big problem, right? And so perhaps that is why him and his trade advisors and everything have kind of decided to not be all shock and awe on the tariff front on day one. Now, I think that we have kind of gotten hints and stuff like the administration was putting out trial balloons and that sort of a thing. But this is definitely a dovish thing relative to expectations and is creating a move. And it's creating a move in what is relatively illiquid market. So, but I've been a little nervous, honestly, with you guys. I've been a little bit nervous about the start of Trump's, first week, how markets could react. But if he's not going to impose tariffs, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. The other thing I'm concerned about is if they do something super crazy with cryptocurrencies. But hopefully anything stupid that they do with cryptocurrencies just pumps Bitcoin and doesn't affect anything else. Okay? If they said something like, "Oh, we're going to buy Bitcoin," and like we're really gonna buy it, like our intention is to eventually to ditch the dollar and just move over to Bitcoin, and like if that killed the dollar, oh man, okay, that would be a little crazy. And I honestly have dreams and anxieties at night about that sort of a thing. So, all right, so far, pretty good move up, but not to overnight highs yet in the treasury. So we'll see where they go. Okay, also in the Wall Street Journal article, administration asked to review Section 232. Let me see if I can... Trump signed a presidential memorandum calling on Secretary Wilbur Ross to prioritize the Department of Commerce investigation initiated last night into the effects of steel imports on U.S. national security. And this 232 is a section that, and this was 2018, by the way, that he ordered that. 232 is the thing that allows the president to impose tariffs for national security reasons. So that's interesting. So that means that they are kind of going to check and have the government kind of say, can I impose an across-the-board tariff for national security reasons? Although perhaps that is just so that the people that he puts on there tell him what he wants. But then that would give them legal cover when it inevitably gets challenged, right? Market tends to long. Well, this was a relatively significant move up in the treasuries, but it wasn't like crazy or anything. And this is the type of news that could really push you. Interestingly enough, we're getting more movement in oil from this than I think we are from the treasuries. Oil is down now almost $1. So Okay, so let's see here. Wizard, is it Dom? Does it still work in the retail space? So the inefficiencies that you can take advantage of that rely solely on the Dom are extremely short-term in nature and tend to be the space of high-frequency trading. So that does not mean that the Dom does not help the retail trader. I think that the Dom is really necessary for you to understand what's really going on in a market from let's say a technical perspective. I don't like to use the word technical, but like to really understand the orders that are going on in the market, you need order flow. So the Dom is a really, really valuable thing to have. Just don't think that you're going to make the money purely from the Dom, okay? Amir pointing out that gold and silver are taking a hit here as well. And this is unusual, right? So this is one of those situations we say there are different correlations with different instruments. The 10-year treasury and the Japanese yen tend to be positively correlated, and right now they are. The Japanese yen has jumped up on this news. The 10-year treasury has jumped up on this news. The dollar, on the other hand, often tends to be inversely correlated to the treasuries. So if the treasuries think that we're not going to have a tariff war right away, and that we're not going to have higher exports and everything, and we're less concerned about possible inflationary effects of those things, then interest rates are going to come down. And if interest rates are going to come down, that's going to attract less people into the dollar to invest in treasuries, right? So you get this kind of correlation where the dollar moves down and the treasuries are moving up, when oftentimes the correlation is different. It is unusual for gold and silver to go opposite the direction of the rest of the treasury complex. So the gold and silver must be moving down because of the move down in the dollar. Although I don't know. So if the dollar is worth less, shouldn't that make gold and silver be worth more in dollar terms? Unless the actual value of gold is going down, is what I think it has to mean. So it is a little odd. Now, the bigger one that I'm seeing, the thing that's moved the most by, well, I'm not going to say it's moved the most by far, but look at oil. Oil is down 1.19% now. This move in oil is pretty extended. Like, it's really going. I have to zoom out a little bit now so that you can see that they have easily smashed through the lower end of the range, and they have dropped over $1 now. So when I come over here to Zero Hedge, one of the headlines that I get, Trump to declare national energy emergency. President-elect Donald Trump is preparing to unleash a flurry of executive orders later this afternoon, reportedly numbering around 200 to reignite his America First agenda. On the energy front, Trump is expected to declare a national energy emergency to ramp up domestic crude oil and natural gas production to reduce power bill costs for all Americans. Later this afternoon, hours after Trump is sworn in, his administration will immediately get to work by declaring a national energy emergency, according to Bloomberg, citing numerous sources. Trump plans to unleash new oil and gas development on federal lands while reversing the Biden-Harris administration's degrowth climate regulations. While many of the executive actions will simply kick off a lengthy regulatory process, they're set to touch the full spectrum of the U.S. energy industry, from oil fields to car dealerships, Bloomberg noted, adding, they also underscore Trump's determination to reorient federal government policy behind oil and gas production, a sharp pivot from Biden's efforts to curb fossil fuels. Sources familiar with the orders did not specify how many emergency energy orders the incoming administration would issue. Later this afternoon, the move underscores Trump's commitment to campaign promises, including reducing household energy costs. In a separate report, an incoming White House energy advisor told Axios that energy executive actions will create conditions that facilitate investment, that facilitate job creation, that facilitate the production of America's natural resources, and the result will be lower prices for the American people. So I wonder if we can come out here just real quick. Maybe we'll finish reading that, but I want to come over to TradingView and see if I look at, I think that probably the best one to look for this would be like Kinder Morgan, right? Because they are kind of more oil infrastructure rather than oil itself. It's been on the rise here over the past few weeks, but in the overnight market, I'm not getting a whole lot. It doesn't look like they are open yet. Maybe we're not going to get pre-market stuff for these stocks because of the stock market being closed today, huh? Sorry, Wizard, I missed your other question there. Matching order are there that are provided by data feed provider or what, sir? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but there is kind of like two major feeds that you get. One is the depth of market, which is, all of these limit orders. And another one is orders matched, which will basically show you limit orders that have been filled by market orders coming in. And there's kind of some algorithms that you can use to determine which direction the market order is going to see whether there's more market buyers or market sellers. Those feeds are two separate things. So there are some weird effects that can occur when those become out of sync. Market by order data is designed to fix those issues, but you don't really need it, not for the things that we do as retail traders. Thanks for reading that. Which news sources are you using? Well, I was just reading Zero Hedge there. So anytime I bring up Zero Hedge, I feel defensive. I feel defensive because, one, I know that there's like certain people that are more of a liberal persuasion that really despise Zero Hedge, but also because I myself have a complicated relationship with Zero Hedge. I'm actually blocked on their Twitter. They thought that they decided that I was an anti-crypto troll and blocked me. But and there's a lot of political stuff that they post on Zero Hedge that I think is just absolutely batty. But you get good news there. For retail traders, there's just nowhere else that you get some of this information, especially information about like analyst reports and what all of the hedge funds are doing and that sort of stuff. Like the real metrics about where the money is going that can help us try and predict future orders, identify informational inefficiencies. So Zero Hedge, and they have a subscription. It's absolutely worth it. And I've never used their super one, but I would really like to. Okay, NinjaTrader released an update. Yes. So are you saying that you are having problems with it, or just that you haven't tried it yet? So I get, I'm kind of in the, what do they call it? There's like it's not an early access program, but basically like a week before they make releases, they show, like what the new features are and all of that stuff. So I always take a look through it. I didn't see anything that explicitly affected my indicators, but there was like updates to C# itself. So that would be okay. The spread candle indicator wrapped out. Oh, but that's the older version. The newest version should only have spread. Or are you using spread and you're just using the candle version of it, perhaps? That sounds to me like something that could be, yeah, okay. You're using spread, but you just have the setting set to be candle. And do you get any Ninja script output? This is one of those, you know, I didn't deal with this last week, but it is ready to be put out, but I need to rebuild it, and I have to sort out the license issue, but I should be able to deal with it. It's just I probably will have to spend $100 or something, but it's okay because I got all this money saved up. At least all this money saved up for the YouTube channel, not for me, unfortunately. But that version, then maybe better debugging. Although I don't really have a whole lot of debugging information put into the spread indicator itself. But you don't get anything in NinjaScript output window? Because if it's crapping out, you would probably get a message over there. And if you don't see one, maybe press F5 and then maybe you'd see the message. Ooh, my one lot got filled, so I was able to get 16 ticks off of that. Let me go back here and make sure I caught everything here. Bloomberg website is also good. You know what? I had the Bloomberg digital subscription for a year, and I really didn't think that it was worth it, to be honest with you. You know, every once in a while there would be a story and I want to go and read it, and then it's like, well, you have to have the Bloomberg digital subscription. No. But the amount of times that I was actually like on the Bloomberg website reading stuff that I wasn't getting anywhere else was rare. And the larger issue that I get with the Bloomberg subscription is that the Bloomberg subscription is really meant for entertainment. Like the Wall Street Journal is meant to be the news source read by all of the CEOs. That's really what the Wall Street Journal is about. That's why, you know, when the Federal Reserve wants the market to know something, they tend to put it through there. Okay, I get error on bar update. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. That sounds like exactly what I would expect it to say, but unfortunately an error that does not help us. Yeah, the 10 and the 30. So probably what's going on, Uzi, is that there's probably a mismatch between like because of the holiday, the different instruments have slightly different settings as to like what their time frames are and all of that sort of a thing. So like it could be like the 10-year has it set that we are open today, but it's an early close, and the 30-year doesn't think that we're open today at all. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe the 30-year doesn't know that it's a holiday today. And so there's some set of bars where it doesn't have the bar for one data series or the other, and it crashes. That makes sense. I think that that's what's happening. And it's the reason I say that is because it's something that I've always theorized could happen, but it hasn't come up, you know? But now that it has come up, maybe now is an opportunity to go and see if I can, there are some changes that I could make to help fix it. Although the issue would be then if it's like, one of the issues is it doesn't say which bar, does it? Does it say which bar number it is? Oh, your cumulative delta line indicator. There's nothing to break there. That's, you could try reloading all historical data. That might also change something. But on that error, usually when it mentions like error calling method on bar, right? 29. Okay, that's good actually. That's good actually. If it was on bar 0, then we'd have a big problem, right? So it's saying you have these two data series, and on this data series it's like this, and I try and go and do something here and there's no value. It's probably what it's saying. And I thought that I had it set up to deal with that. Oh. I'm gonna check and see if I can see an easy way to deal with that. So the real solution to this would be to go into your trading hour templates and figure out where they're wrong. Or, reloading historical data. Fixed it. Yeah, well, it's like, I don't know what causes it, but sometimes NinjaTrader will just get in this weird state where, like, it'll load some data series wonky and it'll cause problems. But that one's for the cumulative delta, right? Did that fix the spread one? They must have changed how delta is accessed or something, because it doesn't throw any errors. It just doesn't draw anymore. That's weird. I think I can see a way to possibly fix this, but it's not quite what I thought. Because basically what I need to do is, like, if it can't access, right, I can do a try loop, and I can say, if you're not able to do it correctly, then just use the value from the previous bar. That's probably what I can do. I can go fix that. Okay, anyways, so Wizard asked, are you more into swing or quick scalp? Well, what we do, I would say, is kind of an in-betweener. Like, I take trades, I'm not holding them more than a few hours. Whereas if I was trying to swing trade, I would potentially hold them for months. I would like to do more swing trading. Maybe later this year, I get more into it. But what I'm showing here on the stream is much more short-term trading, okay? And it's much more news-based, right? Like, the thing that you got to understand is that the market is very statistically efficient. So trying to trade just off of, like, your technical analysis, really not going to work very well on short time frames. That's kind of the funny thing, is that all retail traders think, oh, well, if I'm day trading, it's got to be technical analysis. But technical analysis is really better suited to swing trading. And on the really short time frames, it's really more about, like, following the news and the order flow and things like that. Okay. Can you recommend any good course for learning algo? I cannot. I honestly, I cannot. There's a couple of books that I've had recommended that I've never taken, that I've never read. And if I find one that I think is really good, then I'll go into it. But I would say that almost everything that I've learned about algo trading is, like, self-taught and or, like, you know, read from blogs and stuff. So I have a course. one of the problems I have here is that, like, okay, have a theory about how to deal with this, but I'm not experiencing the issue myself. So if I make a change here, yeah, the delta indicator still compiles. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about now, Izzy. Your own indicator tick replay issue, it draws fine with tick replay off. That's interesting. Oh. Trump is going to sign a memorandum on inflation. Always these problems. I think that I can just delete this and have it regenerated. Now, I had this problem on another indicator. I know, like, I'm not going to tell you the problem that I'm telling, so I know this sounds super vague, but I had this problem before, and I don't remember how I solved it. No, 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 no. Not install. Okay. Trump will put an end to the electric vehicle mandate, they say. Oh, now that's interesting. So the problem that I'm having is related to the code that NinjaTrader auto generates. And so I'm sitting, and it has to do with like when I use my base class. So I'm like, okay, so what else do I have that's using that base that's using that base class? And, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And the other one that I have using that class, it doesn't have any of that auto-generated code in it. Wonder if the correct thing to do here is to make it an interface instead of class that I inherit from. And then maybe that would get rid of the error. do that and reload this. We're fine. Okay. So we're good for now on that. Get the right way to do this. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Can I do it like that? Will it do it like that? If this works, I'm going to be really amazed. Can you suggest any book to read? Well, where I would start if you're going to day trade is Trades, Quotes, and Prices, Financial Markets Under the Microscope by Jean-Philippe Bouchot et al. And this is basically going to teach you everything that we know about the market microstructure. So, and it does a really good job at kind of like starting you from like the most basic level and going all the way up to the top to the higher levels of the market. And you'll really understand the market through and through and why the market behaves the way that it does. Then, there's key insights. The key insight being that the market is very statistically efficient, but it's not very informationally efficient. That I think are just absolutely essential for a retail day trader. Why are you not working for me? Wondering if that's all we're going to get out of that move. But I'm going to try and hold this one till the end. Maybe the version of C# that it uses does not allow. It always tells me, let's see here. Oh. .NET Framework 4.8 is permanently stuck at C# 7.3. Okay. Interesting. And default methods in interfaces did not come out until C# 8. Okay, so probably the best way to do this would be that. This would feel so dirty, but why do you use NinjaTrader specifically? Well, specifically, it has the best charting and custom framework. So, like, you want to make your own indicators and all of that sort of stuff. I really think that NinjaTrader has the best ecosystem out there. C# is really powerful, but it's also, like a public thing. I would prefer to use Python. No, I wouldn't prefer to use Python. I would prefer to use C#, but I think it would be better to use Python. But there's not really a platform that does that. But especially for order flow type of things, the way that they do it in NinjaTrader makes it really, really easy to write order flow style indicators. So... okay, so that compiled, and now if I come over here and I reload this and everything, and I come to indicators, and should be able to see on here the log level. Oh. Need to give it a default. Okay. Cool. So now, if that happens in the future, it will spit in message out there, but it will just use the previous value, so it should be good. Ah, so we are continuing up, huh? I don't know if I'm doing a very good job today with it, because there is a couple of new people coming in. The big thing that I think that we understand here on this channel is a proven thing. It seems like this is something that you would not be able to prove, but I think that we really have a preponderance of empirical evidence supporting this claim. The market is very statistically efficient, but it isn't very informationally efficient. So typically when you think about the efficient market hypothesis, one of the key ideas about the efficient market hypothesis is that current prices reflect all available information, right? Like there's a strong form and weak form, and that has to do with like, does the market contain, like, does the current price account for past price history, so that there's not some sort of pattern that you can exploit to make money from. And then there's like, do current prices reflect all available information? And then there's also this like, do current prices reflect like insider information, right? Well, really what we can do is we can kind of split it into statistical efficiency and informational efficiency. So statistical efficiency is like, if I take a 1 minute chart, can I find some sort of a pattern that will result in profits? And the answer is generally not. It's not that it couldn't exist, but it's extremely difficult to do. Like we can't find them. I can't find them. Very, very difficult. So the market is statistically efficient. Any kind of pattern like that appears, people trade it, and then it disappears from the market. But do current prices reflect all available information? Well, the best data that we have now is no. So if any kind of like way that you can decide what is the correct price, and that's really relevant in the treasuries, because in the treasuries you can really come in and like explicitly value, if I buy this thing right now, what is it really going to be worth? How much is it going to yield with its, because like what the coupon on it and all of those sorts of things are. Okay, so how much the bond is worth. And how much it should be worth based on an overall change in interest rates. And yet you will find on moves that, I should know what it should be worth after this move, and it's not at that price. And it never is. It always goes too far or not far enough. And what we find is, well, the market moves because of orders, and the magnitude of those moves is directly related to the number of orders that traded it. And the number of orders that traded it are not necessarily related to what the fundamentally efficient price is. So you can have these big funds that have to do rebalancing or hedging or whatever the deal is, that is in a direction that is directly contrary to what the efficient market price should be. And the market will still move. And when they're done with their move, I think a lot of people would say, well, but then it would just snap right back. But actually, we find that doesn't happen. Like somebody has to trade it back. You have to have like a meta order of equal magnitude. And like, who's going to trade against a move like that? They don't get in the way. So like the changes actually tend to be permanent. So the market is not very informationally efficient at all. And what does that result in? Well, so there are definitely things that we can do on the algo trading side. But if you're going to do algo trading, it's got to be super, super short term, like order flow sort of a thing, or it's got to be like more higher time frame swing trades. Okay. Like if you're trying to do moving averages and all that sort of stuff, swing trading, momentum strategies, that's what you want to look at. We have a video about that. Go and look up the video about momentum and mention a book and how it generally works and the sorts of things that, they use to give themselves advantages for those strategies. Okay. But for what we're doing, where we're trading discretionarily, we don't have that speed to do the algo side, but we're still day trading. We're not holding the positions for months and months at a time. In that situation, the statistical efficiency of the market is a huge, huge problem for us. And so the answer is basically, you have to rely on the informational inefficiencies instead. That's what we do. Now, the issue with relying on an informational inefficiency is that the market doesn't have to play along, right? You might have a reason to believe that the current price is not an effective price, but that doesn't mean that the market's going to trade it back down, right? You would have to know you want to have some idea that like orders are imminent So what we had here today is a very, very good example. We hear the headline. The headline is that they are not going to impose tariffs today, but that they are going to lay out his trade strategy. And that is a relief to market. There were people that were hedging for that, concerned about tariffs on day one. So now that they don't have to hedge that anymore, they're going to take those hedges off. That means that they're going to buy, and that results in buying. And so that's where we can come over to the 10-year Treasury, and we can look at our 10-year Treasury chart and look at the cumulative delta, and we can say that over the session that there has been overall net market buying by about, well, actually not too much, because it is, after all, a holiday day, but almost 15,000, I'd say, there. And I anticipate that you could potentially see buying all session. So I'm going to hold it for, well, it's only been an hour, so hold it for longer. And that's the trade. And then I'm watching the technical, like the order flow. I don't really, the order flow is kind of different from like technical analysis, but it is like technicals from the classic definition, because it has nothing to do with the fundamental value of the thing, right? But it's not necessarily price, right? It's orders. But I can look at the orders, and I can use that as confirmation that I'm seeing the flow that I was anticipating. Right? If I'd gotten into this and it wasn't going anywhere, and I could see that the net cumulative delta was selling, then I would get out of the position. If I was seeing some sort of a counterflow, I would get out of the position. Made a comment on because I'm seeing, for some reason, on the day trading subreddit, all of a sudden a bunch of people asking about this sort of thing. They're like, can you really make money from technical? Like, people being skeptical about technical analysis is a little bit new and unusual for that subreddit. And people asking, okay, so how would I trade without technical analysis? That's really interesting to me. Okay. So a Trump official is now confirming the Wall Street Journal report. That's hitting the wire right now. He's running higher and higher. Oh my. That last little jump there was a pretty good one. You know, I'm thinking about this and I'm like, oh, you know, I just traded on Sim, but this was one where I really should have pulled out my live account. I was really confident about it, but it didn't even cross my mind because I was still in the we're not allowed to take on any risk mode. Oh well. Man, it is moving though, isn't it? Like I'm just noticing like, oh wow, this is actually is starting to turn into a crazy move. I'm a little bit okay, so part of me is like, this is too much, but we're not even to Friday's highs. We're not even close. Friday's highs are at 27.5. So I think I can just relax. Let's see here, buddy bag. I took a deep dive study into Eller's extended price technique of analysis, and I derived nothing from it, nor do I have any idea how he did. I honestly don't know what you're talking about. So for Eller's, what I find interesting about his work is that he has very much, more than anywhere else that I've seen, utilized advanced data signal processing techniques taken from other taken from engineering fields and so forth. and applying them to the market. Now, on an intraday basis, it's probably still not going to help you, but I would like to try. But you know, when you go out and you're like doing momentum strategies and things like that, I think that there should be some really valuable usage of that there. It kind of seems to me like that his momentum strategy is basically Mesa stochastics. And I don't know. So, but I'm sure that within that there's probably a bunch of other stuff that seems like nonsense. But I've seen a lot of evidence to suggest that the equity markets in particular have cycles to like short-term cycles to them. And I just I've seen some promising things, but overall not something that I could use. And I'm kind of like hoping that if I dive deeper into that, I could sort them out. You know, that reminds me, now is probably a good time for me to come in and look at our tasks. Some of these are not current. Let's see, like this one. Who did that? Oh, detrended price is all about finding market cycles within the longer trend, which is a no-brainer, but the detrended price just seemed redundant. What do you mean redundant? Are you going to watch any? I don't know. I think after this, so the current things we got going on, we got that, website hosting. We just need to there's a few little cleanup things over there that I got to take care of. This right here, you must have seen that or no, I brought this up because you said something. Read Ellers. I forget. He has a bunch of different books to read, so I don't know. So some of these, I did trading without price, so. Let's change this to Rust book. Rustlings. Do you think this has potential for another leg up? beats, you know what, at this point, it beats me. Well, I have more thoughts on it than that. I do think that, I would like to see the treasuries above Friday's highs. I think that would, but, maybe it being a holiday, that's not going to happen. But I think that there's enough of a chance of that happening that it's worth it to me to keep the position open. Yeah. I'm going to move this one down. Because current is supposed to be things that I do like today. Right? His analysis of detrending price was nonsense is not needed to achieve his objective of market cycles. Well, does he ever say anything about time frames on it though? Because like the whole thing is, I want to see, is there like a 5-minute cycle and I can take advantage of that 5-minute cycle, That's what I'm interested in. Plan this out further than I thought. Next video I think we should make is, how much do you need to day trade? Yes. But I have a video written out. I will record today. I think before I get into the Ellers thing, there's a podcast I want to start listening to. Seems like a lot of well-known technical analysts just like mathematics, so they try conjuring up. Well, I don't know. Most of the well-known technical analysts that I've seen have not done. They're just making shit up, Like the thing is, do you have empirical evidence for it, right? It seems to me like Ellers has a momentum strategy of some sort that he's run funds on, but he's not sharing the results of those, nor is it like which parts of his work is he actually using. You know what I mean? So well, he has like $4, so I don't know if I've backtested his Mesa stochastics thing, but not on daily bars. don't know, like a larger picture. The whole thing comes back to like, can you find an edge purely from a 1 minute chart? And I don't think that you can. But I see a lot of people claiming success from doing that. And so I'm trying to sort out, okay, what is the way that you can find temporary success from just analyzing a chart? And so far, the answer that I seem to be getting is just buy the S&P 500. That there's nothing more to it than that. It's just they're buying the S&P 500 and they're getting lucky. So I thought there's going to be some methods that really do seem consistent and profitable over a short term, but then they blow up. But my back testing is not revealing those. Almost all of my back tests just seem to catch up on this inherent bias that the S&P 500 likes to buy. You know, like it should be, or I would put it as like a strategy that if you put it on any instrument, it will appear profitable over a 1 year time period, but not over a 5 year time period. That's what I think I'm kind of looking for, and I'm just not finding it. So there's either something significant that we're missing, or it really is that the people are just seeing the success because they're buying. So, other thing we should be talking about today, Donald Trump launched an official coin of some sort. Well, I don't know. I don't know why we think that it's an official coin, but apparently like has a wallet that is tied to some company that's in his name or something. But Donald Trump hasn't said anything about it. None of the Donald Trump forums that I've seen are promoting it in any way or any of that. So why do we think it's legit? I don't know. There was a little bit of a rug pull last night. It lost about a third of its value. It's still up there. There's also a Melania coin, and this is just intended to be a meme coin. But the Melania coin is also out there today. So this one has been wild to watch. One of the things that I'm seeing a lot of, because it's Reddit, I think, there's a lot of left-leaning people. So the left-leaning people that were into Bitcoin are very, very upset that Donald Trump is doing this, right? Because they see it as like, oh, Donald Trump is grifting. Yeah. But I've also seen a lot of people that are like, wait, what? You can just make a new coin anytime that you want? Yeah. That's exactly the problem, guys. I don't, I keep seeing all this stuff that they're gonna start a strategic Bitcoin reserve and buy Bitcoin, which doesn't make much sense to me. Like, if they really do that, I think that would be a really bad idea. I could see them saying the government should hold any Bitcoin that it confiscates. Okay. But you can kind of see how the crypto community has started to become more and more aware of that. What really matters is orders. Like, in order for Bitcoin to go up, you have to have the orders come in behind you in a way that basically people buy behind you. And so they've figured out that, oh, if the government finds a big wallet and sells it, that hurts Bitcoin. If whatever it is that they basically want to make it as difficult to sell as possible, because they kind of subconsciously understand that Bitcoin doesn't create any value. And that's the thing that just really gets under my skin, is people getting rich without providing value back to society. Like Vivek, this is another thing, is apparently Vivek Ramaswamy is already leaving Doge. Like, he's already worn out his welcome, apparently. So they're saying that like he didn't even last the Sacramouche, It was less than a day. It was like -2 days or something like that. Yeah, and you know what? He doesn't provide. The way that he made his millions was he basically went out, said, I have a medical company that is going to cure Alzheimer's. And then all these people jumped on board because they thought that maybe it really could cure Alzheimer's. But the whole time he basically knew that it wasn't going to, and was kind of manipulating the reports and everything to make it seem like there was a chance when there really was no chance. And then he just was like the first one to sell the stock. And that's how he made his million. So he did not make money from providing value. He seems to put on this thing that like he's this extremely adept executive that knows how to cut costs and all. No, he doesn't. He doesn't know jack squat. He's just you got to understand, guys. The market is not perfectly efficient. The market is not this genius supercomputer that knows all, sees all, and makes all correct decisions. The market is stupid. It's an inanimate thing, and the way that it comes to decisions has almost nothing to do with the actual value of the things. It just kind of happens to be an okay-ish enough way of dealing with the problems of supply and demand and getting all of the information in a central location, that it basically it becomes an essential element of a functioning economy. But it's not perfect. It's stupid. And so if you base everything off of the people that have done the best in the market, and that those are the people that we're going to trust, then you're just always going to be led towards the most degenerate people, not the smartest people. And that's Vivek Ramaswamy. He made his money off of pumping a medical stock, and he doesn't see anything wrong with that. He thinks that that's just the way that the market works. Doesn't occur to him that like he's not actually creating, like he's I don't think that he is self-cognizant of this, you know. Yeah, get rewarded for bad behavior. It seems like that's a lot of what's happening. Because people don't like, this is why we have to tear down the myth. The market is not efficient. It's not. The market is stupid. The guys at Wall Street Bets, they have it right. They have it right. The market is stupid. And the people that make the most money are the most degenerate among them that are, happen to be lucky. Yeah. Doesn't matter whatever is like the really big high risk play out there, there's going to be some idiot doing it. And then when they get lucky, then they're the one that everybody oohs and ahs at. I just found it being okay. I mean, being fast is an edge, but you do have to have a strategy that actually works too. I really hate when we make too general of a statement like that, because we give beginners that don't have any context this impression that like all I've got to do is this thing and then I'll be able to find profitability, right? Like when we say, oh well, the key to being a profitable trader is risk management. That's what all the guys in the Risk Swagger book talk about. The reason they were saying that is because where their edge came from was in analyzing their portfolio and minimizing the risk across the portfolio. When you're trading outright positions, it's a completely different thing, guys. It's completely different things than this idea that like you're just going to have good risk management and then you're going to be a profitable trader. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. What Vivek did was criminal and he should be prosecuted for it. I don't know that. It seems criminal to me, sure. But I highly doubt that he's going to be prosecuted for it. Yeah. Unfortunately. Well, the top story that I'm seeing around is still that Biden preemptively pardons a bunch of people like Fauci. I really don't think that a pardon like that uh, will stand up in court. I hope that they push against it and have a court case on it. Problem is, like, what crime? I mean, I do think that Fauci did things that are wrong. I don't know if it gets to the level of you can prosecute him, for instance. So I don't know if you would actually be able to get a court case to question these pardons, you know? It really irks me. But it also kind of irks me. I feel like that there should be more better news than that. You know? Oh, jeez. I'm just kind of like browsing around. Okay, here's somebody says, I got terminated from a job where I was making around 80K plus bonus back in October, even though I was performing well. Long story, you can probably go back and read one of my previous posts and guess what happened. 2 weeks after losing my job, I found out I'm pregnant. My gosh. Oh, this is long. This is long. Before knowing about the pregnancy, I decided the minimum salary I would take is $60K. I also have a 6-year-old, so I've had to schedule her into consideration when searching for a job, and every employer I've had since was great about making accommodations. My boyfriend ended up getting a higher paying job during this time, but his income and unemployment really weren't enough to pay all the household expenses, so I had to look. Also, the unemployment would run out in April, and I'm due in June. That is so insane. That is so messed up. This market, the job market, is so messed up. Hmm. I just had a job pop up on my my LinkedIn feed in here. I take a look at it and I'm like, well, that seems really well suited to me. I don't know if we would be able to do this stream with that job though. So I don't know if I really want it. But I think I have to go for it, right? Don't cry. Dude, I have the worst allergies, and this room is kind of the place that I usually come to you know, be away from the allergies. And I really think it's the dogs. I mean, I'm allergic to dust mites too. Oh, actually, that's kind of one of the weird things is like the worst room is the bedroom if I haven't like washed the sheets recently and stuff. But the dogs overall are the things that I think get me the most. So usually at the beginning of the stream, you'll see me dabbing my eyes with the Kleenex, but then I'm fine through the rest of the stream. But today, for some reason, I'm still having issues with it. So I guess that means that I need to pull the air filter in here and do that whole thing. I also do wonder, I think that my older machine, that there's some component that's hot and is really, I don't know, because you'll kind of get that like burnt electronic smell in here. And every once in a while it'll be like, oh, there's something in here that's making me feel woozy, and if I air the room out, then I'm fine. So I don't know. Okay, so you know what's another problem that I have looking through jobs? Is that a lot of the biggest technology companies that you can work for are companies that I'm like, I really don't think I want to work for them. Like Facebook right now, man. I really shouldn't say this sort of stuff. Like, what if I really get desperate and I have to go and find a job at Facebook? But everything that I've seen from Facebook is that they don't not treat their employees very well, and that is not a place I want to work right now. You know? And there's one that I really mixed about that I keep seeing pop up is Adobe, because there's an Adobe office down in Lehigh. But I really despise some of the things that Adobe has done recently with Photoshop and everything. So I don't know. We still got like, what, 40 minutes here? We have come off of the highs, though. Interestingly enough, we're like sitting right on the seller break-even line. So what's happening essentially is, because it's a holiday, there's really just not enough market volume. So this is an example. I think what we got today is a really great example of inefficient market, right? Like it should go further based on the news that we're getting, but there's not enough people trading today to bring it in line. Oh, there's a job posted 4 hours ago, already has over 100 applicants. Healthcare though, so. I'm finding more jobs today. There was one of these days where I was like, I'm not even finding. I ain't finding squat. Well, today there's a lot of stuff to at least apply to. Probably 24 or so. what if I tell it only in Utah? Not all of the remote jobs. Lots of inventory at 205 and 210. It is kind of been settling there, but I mean, it's not as much as it was at 19. So it really kind of feels to me like, you know, all of the people that are still here on the holiday traded that initial thing, and then there hasn't been enough activity beyond that to really do anything, you know? I got my work cut out for me today, guys. Do you think that it'll decouple and move north before the end of the stream though? I think that you could see some more upside, but I'm worried that it's going to be long after I'm gone here. Oh, it moved up one tick. S&P 500 is kind of giving me a head and shoulders type of pattern at the moment. One of the things I'm seeing around this morning is, Joe Biden pardoned a bunch of other people, and in particular, they pardoned people on the January 6th committee. And, so people are kind of talking about, oh, okay, is a preemptive pardon allowed? Because, like, Trump is totally going to try and prosecute them anyways and all of that sort of a thing. But I'm really not sure. Like, what are you going to charge them with? What are they going to charge the January 6th committee members with? Especially since these are, like, sitting members of Congress. I'm very, very skeptical that the Department of Justice would even bring a case. And if they were to bring a case, I don't think that it would get very far. Now, this is entirely politics. This is, get people to pay attention to, or to think about the January 6th thing. I don't think that anything more is going to come of it. I really, really don't like that we're giving, like, preemptive pardons now. I don't think that should be allowed. Like, I can see really big problems with just allowing complete, I pardon my best friend for all and any crimes that he ever commits in the field. Like, I don't think he can do that. You're on a dangerous ground. You allow that, because now you're basically creating a person that is immune from the law, right? But I don't think that we're going to have a case where it goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court rules on whether preemptive pardons are okay or not. Because how are you going to get that case to that level, They've always been immune from the law, now it's just on paper. You gotta understand that, like, one of the problems that we have going on in the United States right now is that there is so much malfeasance by people at the top levels of society that there's really not enough resources to go after them. Like, we were talking about Vivek Ramaswamy earlier, okay? I kind of think that what Vivek Ramaswamy did was fraud. He basically came in, said, we're going to cure Alzheimer's. And the whole time he knew that the chances of this actually working weren't it wasn't going to happen. People that really understood the trials and everything were calling BS on it before it all kind of fell apart. But what he did was just straight up fraud. Okay. So what do you do about it? You have to get somebody at the SEC or the Justice Department to decide to go after him and all of these things, right? And then there's all of these risks that are introduced because when you're at that level, if you prosecute somebody and that case fails, it's a big deal. Like, a lot of resources go into that. And, so you don't pursue a case like that, especially if there's like some fuzziness around the law in question and things like that. And unless the president really, really, really wants you to do so. Okay, so like this whole thing, like the prosecutions against Donald Trump, and they're like, well, we're not targeting Donald Trump. He just broke that bullshit. Bullshit. There's no way that you would normally go after a defendant on these novel legal theories that almost across the board got shot down in the courts, by the way. And unless it was like the president driving it. So, these government enforcement agencies, they just do not have enough resources to go after everybody that possibly has broken the law on these sorts of things. And so the rich have kind of learned this like, better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. And they just push ahead with whatever they can. That's why you also see like these financial services companies that probably should be banks, but they're not banks and getting away with it, or all of the crazy stuff that people in the cryptocurrency community are getting away with and things like that. And then Donald Trump has come in like, well, there's too much regulation and so forth. And so, instead of looking at the places where the regulation really was onerous and taking that on and getting rid of it, it's just going to be like across the board what his pals tell him to. And so probably these people that are getting away with that stuff, probably even more of them are going to get away with that stuff. Because it really comes back to like, what do you really care about? Because if really all you care about is money, I tell you, man, there's lots of ways to make money. Like, but I don't want to just make money. I want to bring value to society. That's a lot harder, right? A lot harder. Happy you didn't take any heat on that 2 tick. Yeah. Can you imagine if you were down 2 ticks right now? You're like, well, I mean, it should come back, right? Well, this is the worst. This is why, like, trading holidays is usually it was extremely unusual for me to trade a holiday. Extremely. Like I said, I beginning of the stream, I really considered not doing the stream and just recording video. I think the like inauguration stuff starts at the top of the hour anyways. So we got like what, 5 minutes, and then I'll shut things down. Kind of looks like I'm just gonna get the price that we've had for a while. I should have taken the 24. There is still, again, 27.5 above us. Yeah, I could try swinging it. I could try swinging it and holding it through to tomorrow. If you want to try that, that'd be fun. Turn it into a swing trade. Yeah, I don't know. Sure does seem nice. Yeah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it and see what happens. Okay. Let's not be a swing trade, but it could be like a multi-day trade, because I would like to see at least 27.5. This evening we'll have a crazy lack of liquidity in moves. It's gonna be throughout the day. And yeah, probably when because they do end early, but probably when the extended session opens up, you're probably gonna see like big moves. Yeah, I think so. Far away from the computer tomorrow. Yeah. Are there any criteria that have to be met before the president can declare an emergency? I don't think that there is. I bet there probably will be in the future, though. That's a hole maybe you want to patch up, Congress. Yeah. What do you got here, D? Oh, gives me CNN Live. Naughty, naughty. I don't think you should be giving us that link. I'm going to remove that link. There should be plenty of places on YouTube that you can watch it legitimately, right? Or, hey, I bet you that you can see it on Rumble, too. What is that? Rumble. There you go. You can watch it with the Dan Bogino, or with Donald Trump Jr. Yeah. I tell you what, Dan Bogino, he's gotten big. 60,000 views right now on Rumble. Wow. I'm impressed. Ooh, are we gonna go up to the high for the end? They're like, yeah, we gotta wait until Seth's gone, but surely he wouldn't be trading now. It can go up. Yeah, maybe. Hmm. Well, part of me is like, hey, this would be a good spot to end it. 23. But I do kind of want to see the overnight volatility and it's a big risk. It's a stupid thing. So like, I don't want to say like this should be like part of my strategy and yada, yada, yada. But like, I'm kind of like, I think you got to take risks. And now is like a good time to take one. I think it seems to be, like, I don't know if it's more likely to go to the upside than the downside tomorrow. But like, I've got so much baked in on it that like I can do it. Right. So I'm just going to let it ride. Let it ride. Okay, guys. Well, but I'll still be on Discord all day today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So, in the meantime, stay excellent.